Good morning, folks. How you doing today? Michael Zuber back with another new investor story. We have the wonderful Dion with us. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on the show. And I think I have a YouTube premium account. And I think you're the biggest content creator that I follow. So appreciate it.
Oh, wow. That's very nice to hear. I appreciate that. We always start with the same thing. Tell us who you are, where you're at, what you're doing in your investing journey.
Yeah. So I reached out. I got my house in March 2020 during the heart of or right before the peak of COVID happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it turned into madness where everybody would be working from home. So that I got my house with the ADU in the backyard, and that I immediately knew I wanted to get it. I saw the backyard and just it was already a prefabbed ADU, and I thought, okay, I can make some supplemental income on this, maybe 1,000 a month or so. Ended up being a lot more than that, but I wasn't pre-qualified or anything. I had to put I toured it on a Saturday day of when I saw it, and I had to put the offer in by Tuesday night for it to be reviewed on Wednesday. Ended up getting lucky and was the only one to put an offer in, so I got it at price in Seattle, which is pretty unheard of, especially with how I tune into the conversation you have with Beth Traverso, and she
Yeah.
kind of covers how crazy Seattle is. So
Yeah.
I got that and kind of got it up to speed relatively fast. It was COVID, so I had time to kind of get it, order furniture online and everything. And I was working remote, but it was pretty slow work because I was working for a retail company at the time. And I first started with a travel nurse in the ADU for the summer, and that's low. It was higher than a normal monthly rent, but lower than what I do on Airbnb.
Okay.
And then so that for the first summer, that was from June until I think beginning of September. Then I transitioned full time to Airbnb September 2020. I've been doing it from since then for over 3 years, and it's been net more than my mortgage, about over $1,000 above my mortgage if you average
Wow.
it throughout the year. And I just finished 2023 and it was 84% occupied, which Seattle isn't really a destination. But in the summer it is, but to have 84 throughout the year, like right now,
Yeah.
slow season, is pretty good. So yeah.
Very, very cool. So, first off, buying a house March of 2020, right? I think that's when the country shut down.
Yeah.
If it wasn't, maybe it was April.
Mhm.
But were you nervous at all?
Well, I toured it mid-February. I think it was like the day after Valentine's Day,
Okay.
and
All right. So we're
that
still
was when
open.
that was
Yeah.
when COVID was becoming
Yeah. It was around. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no idea it would be shut down. And I moved in, and I live in West Seattle, and we have a bridge that shut down for during COVID, and COVID happened. All the
The
lockdowns
bridge shut down?
yeah, the bridge to get over here. So
What?
it's not necessarily an island, but it feels like an island. So you
Yeah,
have to
I
go
guess.
detours, and
Wow. Sounds
if
like
that
a
was
prison. You
function,
shut down the
oh yeah,
bridge. What the hell?
if
Okay. All right.
if that was during the normal when all businesses were open, it wasn't COVID. I don't even know how it would not function. But
Yeah.
people weren't going to work, so it was doable to
Okay.
have
All
to
right.
shut down. But yeah, I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh great, first time to buy a house with during this global pandemic. Great job
Of
doing it.
course, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah. So, but in retrospect, obviously, it worked out really
yeah,
well.
yeah. I think it turned out okay. I think it turned
Yeah,
out okay.
yeah.
So it was an owner occ purchase. Are we talking 3.5, 5, 10% down? What are we talking?
Yeah, I put down, it was less than 5%. I put enough to get the conventional loan, I
Okay.
believe. So I think that might have been 8% at the
Yeah, something like
time.
that. Yeah. Okay.
And PMI and everything was pretty low too. So, and I refinanced, was it December 2021? So not even a year
Oh,
later
very
at
nice.
2875 to go from 325 to 2875. So
And please tell me it's fixed for 30 years.
yeah, I didn't do any variable rates.
Ah,
It's
good
fixed.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Good man. All right. Well, let's I've never done an Airbnb. Actually, let's do traveling nurse. You did traveling nurse first.
Yeah.
So what did it cost to furnish? We talking 5 grand? I have no idea.
Yeah, it probably was even that. I've been doing gradual upgrades to it. Like I first put in actually my nephew's trundle bed that
Hmm.
my brother gave me, and that was it could extend into a king. And then
Yeah.
I got a good Casper bed and put a mini split out there. So I've increased over time, but to get it initially furnished, I don't even think it was the backyard. I get it's a good backyard setup. So yeah, I'd say probably 5,000, including the
Okay.
backyard and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you buy it, you fix it up. You go traveling nurse. Just one nurse or multiple or one?
Yeah, it's a small studio.
Oh,
It's
okay.
probably not even 200 square feet, if that.
Oh, okay.
It is small, so it's not, and
All
there's
right.
no kitchen too, so it's just a kitchenette that I have in there. So
Okay.
I it's more suited toward short-term renting,
Got it.
definitely. But it
Okay.
worked for the traveling nurse for
All
the
right.
first three
Then you
months.
flip it up to Airbnb. Obviously, starts out got to be hot, right? Airbnbs was smoking
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
couple of years. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I got on a pricing platform and I originally underbid it because I was looking at the money I was making at the time, being like, oh wow, I could, 2,000 in the peak season, I can get 6,000 a month on for Seattle for little ADU.
wow.
Um but yeah, I got it up to speed, and then yeah, it definitely filled up the first year, and I've always had pretty steady occupancy. Last year was actually, or 2022 was actually lower than 2023, but
Oh, really?
I had lower occupancy but higher revenue because I had
Got
higher
it.
rate. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Any lessons? Do you do this all yourself? All
Yeah,
the pricing and all that?
yeah, I outsource the pricing through Price Labs, but
Oh,
I
okay.
control the levers in it. Like you put your max min and your max min and your average rate that you want to do, and they help you get it up to speed. But now it's
Okay.
pretty dialed in with the pricing. But I clean it myself. I have the 9 to 5 job. I work
Okay.
mainly remote, so I'm able to, it's gotten a little dicey where I've had meetings and I had to figure out how do I make this clean happen when it's 11 to 3 window to do it. But
Right.
it takes me about an hour to turn over, so it's not too big of a
Okay.
time commitment.
Any lessons? A lot of people are thinking about adding ADUs. It's becoming a thing, certainly in Washington and probably now California. I hear it's coming to more and more states across the country. About having an ADU slash short term rental in your backyard. Is it obviously seems like financially it's a great thing.
Yeah, I would say you have to know your target audience when you're doing it. Do you want to appeal to couples? Do you want it to be family visiting? Is it travel nurses? So I think once you establish that, then you know your target market, then you cater to it, whether it's having a cool backyard or accessibility to a house, just whatever you want to do. And just have a backup plan because you might get there and it's a pretty slow time and you have to know what's your backup option. If will midterm renting be an option, or if you have to long-term rent, is it so if I bought the ADU only for that and I wasn't living here, I'd be more stressed out because if to pay the mortgage and everything. But since I'm here and it's in my backyard, there are people there right now actually, then
Yeah.
it's pretty doable. But it's not a guaranteed. You can look at the I think what's the platform that has it? AirDNA, I believe, is a big one. You could look at
Mhm.
that to see, but just because you see the averages doesn't mean that you're going to do that, or either higher, lower, or above. Like it's all up to how
Yeah.
you perform. So
What do you think the secret is to your unit? Again in 2023, getting such a high occupancy. Is it location? Is it the backyard? Price point? What do you think it is?
yeah, I think I've gotten pretty good reviews, so that definitely helps to get the credibility under your belt. I'm on 3 different platforms, so I think that helps get. I'm on Airbnb, VRBO, my own direct booking site, so I
Mhm.
get repeat customer, and that helps with demand too. I've
Okay.
had one neighbor book it for his family 5 different times last year, so that
Oh,
that
wow.
definitely helps with there. But yeah, just knowing the audience, I think it's specialized. I think a lot of people when they get multiple Airbnbs, they want to cheap out on everything. I have one so I can afford to make it a little like I have Costco sheets that are nice and instead of the Amazon pieces of crap that fall apart. And
Yeah.
just I have a little kind of like the board you have behind you, the subscribe. I have a
Mhm.
little thing called Tidbit that I customize, like welcome guests and everything.
Oh,
So
nice.
and real plants in there. So I think they notice the little things, and not making it too of a I don't know if corporate's the right a generic type cheap
Yeah.
Airbnb feel.
Very, very cool. Um, so what's next? Are you looking to maybe buy another house with an ADU in the backyard and rent out this one, or what's next for you?
Yeah, yeah. So my plan is I'm always looking, I know, watch your channel and know they're always you have your buy box and try to figure out but always look no matter what time of year it is. So
Yeah.
my goal is to get I'm in a small a 2 bedroom house right now. I want to get a 3 to 4 bedroom house that's more long term. I want to be the occupant there and get
Mhm.
it with a garage structure that I'll eventually get up to speed down the road
Okay.
and turn my house into a dual a long term and a short term and put
Oh,
a
okay.
fence in the backyard to separate it out so they're not
Privacy fence.
put
Yeah.
privacy fence to do that. So, and once I do that, I could potentially have 3 income streams and live from 2 houses,
Yeah.
and live in the one. So that's my ultimate goal for the
Now
next.
that would be relatively close to where you are now.
Yeah, yeah. I know the West Seattle market and I'm looking there constantly. I get a little overwhelmed if I were just it's hard to even keep well, I keep up with West Seattle, but it's hard to keep up with other neighborhoods, whether it's
Yeah.
the East Side or Green Lake, Seattle,
You
and
got to you
everything.
got to you got to have a buy box. It's
Yeah,
just, I mean, so many people don't understand that. I mean, how
yeah,
can you keep up with this and this and this and this?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's tough. It's tough.
yeah.
Um, so what's your recommendation? Let's say you're, someone who's got a main house, maybe you're considering adding an ADU, maybe there's a garage that you can convert to a JADU. Um, what's your recommendation? Consider it. What do you think?
If somebody had a garage to convert to it,
Yeah, if
or
they're thinking about adding an ADU, because I think that's
ADU,
something. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, no, it has to make financial sense. I think I'll learn when I go. I That's a challenge that I want to get into, whether I'm the contractor, I get those skills, or I get make more connections to somebody that could help me build it from scratch and outsource
yeah,
everything. But I would say you have to know what kind of like what I said earlier, what your use and goal of it. And if it
right.
doesn't work, what's the plan B if you were to go on Airbnb and you get a bad review to start
Mm,
and you're not having any luck filling it? Can you rent it out midterm? No,
right.
that market. Do you have a son or daughter that can live there, or just any type of thing to kind of fill it? Or if you don't, can you survive
Yeah,
the added monthly payment and
right.
yeah, the other thing too that I thought was when you mentioned on your channel about the 9 to 5 and this discretionary income. I never even thought of it in that guard where if you buy Xbox, oh, it
Yeah,
takes me 2 hours to make to make that or whatever it
yeah,
is. No, actually, you're after all your bills, your take home is this month, and you're actually working, X amount of hours. So
yeah,
you have to do the math and everything and know,
yeah. Discretionary income is, I mean, if you're in the 9 to 5 grind, and frankly, even if you're an entrepreneur, it's all about the discretionary income, right? Yeah, yeah. I make 50 grand a year. No, you don't. You make 46 grand after taxes. No, you don't. You've got
yeah,
rent, you got food, you got this, you got that. You make like 2,800 bucks. That's
yeah,
all you get to play with.
yeah, yeah,
Grow that number.
yeah. And the other benefit that I forgot to mention earlier is the tax benefit. So I get
Oh, yeah.
like if I was out of my head if I'm making X amount in cash flow, then add another 20% if it were W-2 money because I get it I depreciate the ADU, have
Yep.
utilities, I get it right off, all the purchases,
Mhm.
to keep everything going. That
Yeah.
that ends up being really in your favor. So that's another
Yeah.
big thing.
The other thing is, again, talk to your CPA, your accountant, because short-term rentals are a business.
Mm,
So there are some additional tax advantages calling it a business versus passive, right? It's
yeah,
an active investment.
yeah.
Which definitely should look into that. This has been a lot of fun, Gian. Any kind of closing thoughts, recommendations? Where can people find you?
Yeah. So my Airbnb is seattledriftwoodcottage.com, and you can
I
find
like
me
it.
in the or sorry, Seattle Driftwood Cottage is the handle. And you can find me in the follow. Gian Rosati is my normal Instagram. But yeah, I think that's everything. I guess one question for you with
Sure.
if the one thing that I know I need to get better at is getting the handy skills,
Mm,
the handyman skills, because I could do the small things, but I have my job.
mm.
I can't go and be a contractor, and I don't have those handy skills. What would you do if you're in my shoes, knowing that Seattle is an expensive market, and if you don't do that, you're going to be paying for
Yeah.
a prefab ADU or pay to get a contractor that's a professional.
Yeah. My job was always to find capital and secure the next deal. That's where I focus, especially with my day job. I didn't have extra time. I don't know that you have to earn those skills. I know the lumberjack obviously does. What I was able to do was go through a lot of the remodels, and I learned enough to know I'm not getting ripped off.
Mm,
That
mm,
was where I wanted to go. I never wanted to swing a hammer. I never wanted to paint a wall. I never wanted to change a toilet, but I did want to know when I was getting screwed. Um,
yeah.
so that's where I focus, because I could make a lot more money finding the next deal than saving $2,000 on a paint job.
Yeah, and that's more my mindset too. So that's good to know. That's where you would focus too. So,
Yeah. In the
um,
beginning, it's get multiple bids. Like if you're going to go get an ADU built somewhere,
yeah,
um, I would go I'd go get multiple bids and designs. The other thing you could do, because you're in Seattle, there's a guy you may or may not have heard of named Thatch Nguyen.
yeah.
Um, yeah, Thatch is a big ADU proponent, somebody I've had on the channel, somebody I call a friend. Um, get in his world or follow him a little bit because he's given lots of recommendations. It might be someone to double check, a
Oh,
bid or something for you.
yeah, yeah. He's actually big with my org, the Seattle Sounders. He donated. I
Yeah,
think
he's
he
big
bought
money.
the house and he donated to our charity for that to make. It might have been close to 1 million or something. It was crazy.
Yeah,
But,
Thatch Nguyen's a good dude.
yeah,
Immigrant came here with nothing. Yeah,
yeah.
he did a big donation. He's building soccer fields and stuff.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So Thatch, if you ever watch this, or somebody watching this knows Thatch, send Thatch some good news. And
Definitely.
thank him for all he does.
Yeah.
Gian, thank you, buddy. Take care.
Yeah, thanks
Congrats.
a lot. Go Dogs in the championship too.
There you go. Is that today? No, that's tomorrow.
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 Yeah, yeah.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Cool.
Take
All
care.
right, thanks, Michael. Bye.
Bye.